What's up guys, Andrew here. Since I've been reviewing many high-end laptops lately, I'm going to start to review some budget laptops that many of you guys like to see. And this is the Toshiba Satellite C55-B5100. This 15-inch notebook retails for $229 US and it features an Intel Celeron N2840, 4GB of RAM, and a 500GB hard drive. This laptop is mainly aimed at someone who wants a budget laptop for basic productivity, and maybe even some light gaming. Let's go ahead and see if this laptop is worth picking up. The design is pretty basic, with plastic surrounding the entire laptop. The top plastic lid does seem to attract fingerprints, so keep that in mind. The bottom is removable, so you'll have easy access to the internal components. We'll get more to that later on in this video. Now the weight comes in at 4.85 pounds, and its thickest point is just over an inch. There is some keyboard flex on here, but that is expected on a $229 laptop. Now let's take a look at the ports here on the left side of the laptop. Here goes your AC charging port, Gigabit Ethernet port, USB 2.0 port, headset microphone jack combo, and your DVD drive. On the right side, you got your security lock slot, an exhaust port, VGA port, a full-size HDMI port, an additional USB 2.0 port, and a USB 3.0 port. And before you freak out, the SD card reader is located right in the front. Now let's see how far it sticks out. Wow, that does stick out quite a bit. You get a standard full-size keyboard with a 10-key numeric keypad. I was actually surprised how well these keys felt. The key travel is adequate, and the tactile feedback is good. The only complaint I had was how small the spacebar was. However, I did not have any issues typing on this keyboard. Another nice bonus on this laptop is the LED notification for the caps lock key and the number lock key. You don't see many budget laptops with this feature. Let's talk about this trackpad. The size of it is very small for a 15-inch notebook, but you do get two physical buttons. The surface is made out of plastic, and it feels very cheap. With that being said, the tracking was good, however two-finger scrolling was a bit choppy. It just didn't feel smooth at all. The two top-facing speakers on this notebook were horrible. The sound quality is atrocious, and the sound levels were just awful. This is one of the areas that Toshiba cut the corner the most. Here's the test of them in action. I'm going to start off at 50% and go up from there. Next up is display performance. This laptop is rocking a 15.6-inch Samsung TN panel with a resolution of 1366 by 768. The color accuracy is actually decent for a budget laptop. However, text will be just a tad fuzzy compared to Full HD. The sRGB coverage came in at 76%, and the Adobe RGB came in at 57%. The viewing angles on the Samsung TN panel were poor, but for $229 US, you can't really complain too much. For a budget laptop, you're getting a decent Intel Celeron processor based on the Bay Trail architecture, unlike some other budget laptops, which has the AMD E1-2100, which only has a base clock speed of 1 GHz with no turbo. The base clock speed on the Intel N2840 is 2.16 GHz with a turbo boost up to 2.58 GHz. For basic apps like web browsing, Netflix, email, and word processing, this CPU was fairly quick for those kind of tasks. Let's take a look at some Geekbench 3 performance scores. For the single core score, I got 1033, and for the multi-core, it came in at 1810. The Intel Celeron Bay Trail processors feature the Intel HD graphics. The performance is adequate for most basic productivity applications. Now you can run some light-duty games like Minecraft with the Optifine plugin installed, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but don't expect too much from this integrated GPU. And here are some benchmarks for the Intel HD graphics using 3D Mark Advanced Edition. For the Skydiver test, I got 515, and for CloudGate, I got a score of 1244. Next up, here's a demo of Counter-Strike Global Offensive running at 1024 by 768. As you can see here, the game is running at around 28 to 31 frames per second. I had a better experience running in this setting compared to the 1366 by 768 resolution. And here's the demo of it running at 1366 by 768. As you can see here, the frames dipped to around 23 to 25 frames per second. And here are the graphics settings I used during the last test. Next up, let's test out League of Legends running at 1366 by 768 on low to medium settings. The game is playable on this laptop with an average frame rate of 27 to 31 frames per second. Here are some temperature readings on the top of the keyboard. On the right side by the enter key, you're going to average around 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. The rest of the laptop remains pretty cool at around 25 to 32 degrees Celsius. The hottest point of the laptop is going to be the bottom right here where the CPU is located. I average around 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. and the surrounding areas averaged around 28 to 38 degrees Celsius. The CPU temperatures were pretty good for a fanless laptop. The average was around 74 degrees Celsius with a high up to 82 degrees Celsius, and that was with 30 minutes of gameplay. But if you're just using this laptop for basic productivity, then the average CPU temperatures will be around 55 degrees Celsius. The biggest downside on this laptop is the huge amount of bloatware that Toshiba put on here. It just felt bloated. You can download a program like CCleaner to remove them. Once I finish removing them, there's no